out the hand, switch, shooters on swoosh, hitters don't miss. Already just added a ton of y'all to my list. Bitch, death wish, not to be messed with, tested quiz. They shooting shots, hitting bricks, we testing the kids.
Welcome to Deep Thrones, the most entertaining podcast in the world of Ice and Fire. This, of course, is the Deeper Thrones edition. I'm your host, Sims. Your other host, Sheedy's here. What's up, Sheeds?
Hey, Chris, how's everybody feeling? How's
Feeling
everyone doing out
great,
there?
and especially great because we have sister of the pod, Sister Sheedy, Allison here, recurring guest. Allison, how are you, first off?
I am doing great. It is an honor and a pleasure to be on again.
That's an awesome background. For those who are joining via podcast and not our YouTube, she's got an awesome three-headed Targaryen dragon with flames all over her background. Pretty sick intro.
That is sick, and you got to be
Thank you.
careful with that background because George has been very critical of Targaryen sigils recently. George R. R. Martin, he's very critical about if it's the right sigil, and it has something to do with the amount of feet that the dragons have.
The amount of legs. It's got to be a two-legged dragon. There's no
He's-
four-legged.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
So,
fascinating enough.
but Allison, we'll start as we always do with our guests on Deeper Thrones. Can you take us through briefly your Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon journey, and then we'll jump into your rating for this last episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just candidly one of those people who simply thought I would not like the show, having never watched it. So then I started watching Game of Thrones, I think in 2018, and just immediately fell in love with what a character-rich story it was. And the rest is history. I just have loved it ever since.
Did you worry
Love that.
after Game of Thrones about coming into prequels and stuff, like because the world now is so different?
Yes, absolutely. I've had to do a lot of research, a lot of digging into family trees,
And
just to keep up and see how everything's connected.
right, okay. But
Mhm.
also, would you say you listen to anything that helps you learn about the world? Jesus Christ.
Well, the Deep Thrones pod,
Yeah, there you
obviously.
go. Gave you a slam dunk and you almost missed it. Chris, anything
Shout
else?
out to Google for teaching me everything I know about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon.
She's like a wiki of Ice and Fire.
Ugh.
All these other boring Game
Read
of
the
Thrones
books.
podcasts.
She's like, I don't really listen to like audio mediums. They don't sit well with me.
Speaking of things that don't sit well with people, Sheeds,
What's up?
the sunglasses, man. What's up with that?
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I forgot I had these on. I wear regular glasses and I seem to have misplaced them. So this was just, I was out and about. I actually went to a little happy hour earlier where me and some other guys in the Team Greens forums got together, just discussed some things that were pressing after last episode that we thought weren't a great representation of what Team Greens stands for. And we came to the same conclusion, which is we need to lean in to the Team Black's problems right now because Team Greens are fine. We're doing fine. Aegon's alive. He's a little crispy, but he's fine. We got Daemon, who is an absolute snooze fest at Harrenhal, playing tiddlywinks with his own mom. So that's it. And as for the sunglasses, again, I forgot the question. They're just on. Should I take them off? Do you want me to take them off?
Well, you can proceed however you'd like to proceed. I would just like to know who these gentlemen were that you were at happy hour with.
That's none of your business. Let's just say it was like myself and Ask Jeeves. And do you remember Smarter Child from AOL? It was like the bot that you could chat with. He agreed with me a lot about my opinions.
It's like the Microsoft staple.
Yeah, I was talking
clip,
to
the clip.
ChatGPT gave me some good advice. And Allison, one last question for you about last episode from House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 5, Regent. What was your rating for it on a scale of 1 to 10, which is how we do things?
Strong 7.5.
Oh, nice. Okay.
7.5.
I think it's
Okay.
Was that what I gave? We were all, I think I gave a 7 and you gave a
I gave a
6.5.
6.5. Yeah.
You gave a 7.5. So we're all within the margin of error. These polls are, good stuff.
Okay. Well, that's a great segue into some of the rewatch notes. So, in these Deeper Thrones episodes, the whole point of it is for us to take a deeper look, and look at things that we might not have caught in the review. Starting off with early in the episode in the Black Council scene, Bartimos Celtigar mentioned striking at King's Landing. pretty usual, except later on when Rhaenyra was speaking with Mysaria, in her confidence, Mysaria also mentioned striking at King's Landing in a little bit of a different way. So it leads me to believe that, I mean, that Black Council's been talking about striking at King's Landing for a long time, but with Mysaria saying it as well, and we see later on in the episode that Alenda, who is Rhaenyra's handmaiden, actually gets into King's Landing and starts talking to Aegon's former sexual assault victim, which I need to learn her name because that's an awful way to refer to someone.
I think it's Tabitha. I think something like that.
Okay.
I think it's something like that. I could be wrong, but I believe it's Tabitha.
So all these kind of dominoes are starting to fall toward Rhaenyra taking action to King's Landing. So something to keep your eye open for sure.
Especially now, it seems like the small folk are begging for a revolt. They're not eating. They're not, they're all nervous. They're all scared. I'll also say that, ironically enough, I saw a meme today that this is the anniversary of one of the Game of Thrones episodes where Daenerys crossed the Narrow Sea finally and landed on Dragonstone. And the comment by Westerosis, which is a great content poster for people who love this world on Twitter and on Instagram, they said, if you were Daenerys, what would you have done differently? And every comment was, take King's Landing immediately with all three dragons, which is just like what we've been saying about Rhaenyra.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget Vhagar is there right now, but I have a feeling, if Vhagar were to take off, that leaves King's Landing pretty vulnerable. So we'll see what happens there. I wanted to give a little bit of background on the Eyrie and the Vale, specifically with Jane Eyre's character, because Jane was speaking to Reyna in the last episode, and we touched on it in our review about like Visenya and Vhagar flying in and actually penetrating the Eyrie for the first time in recorded history. I wanted to just because we talked about it as if everyone knew that story, so I just wanted to give a little bit more background on it. So Visenya is Aegon the Conqueror's sister wife. There's another one also named Rhaenys, R.I.P. God rest her soul. But Visenya was
R.I.P. to the
actually
realist. R.I.P. to the realist.
one of the first riders of Vhagar, the same one that we see that Aemon's riding. Vhagar at that time has to be about 150 years old in what we're seeing now. But at that time, Visenya rode Vhagar to the Eyrie, which again was known to be impregnable, still was by the time we saw the events in Game of Thrones. If you remember the way that Robin Arryn and Lysa Arryn were talking about it, it is almost impossible to get to. There's a very narrow path that goes up a mountain. So to get a whole army up there is not necessarily possible. But to get a dragon up there is pretty simple, turns out. So that's why Jane Eyre was very hard-headed on, I don't want baby dragons. I want a real dragon because that's literally the only thing that can bring us down at this point. So just wanted to give a little bit more background on that. The Eyrie is the seat of the Vale, which the Vale was one of the first places that the Andals, who were, the knights of this time that we see, came into. So the Vale is known for its chivalry. It has thousands of knights ready to go at the call. They talked about 15,000 men-at-arms too that they would be able to supply. So very key in the sense of battle strategy, but they're not going to want to move without proper protection.
No, 15K is a lot more than the 2K that Cregan Stark promised. So, well, obviously he has a bigger host to come, but the 2K that he promised off the jump. Allison, as someone just beginning to see these new characters, early impressions of Jane Eyre.
Kind of a B.
Kind of a B. Kind of a B. I appreciate the censorship. But you have to admit, a lot cooler than Lysa Arryn from Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. Yeah, she breastfed her kid till he was like 12, a little off-putting. She comes off as very just stern. I get where she's coming from, though. When we were watching the episode, I was like, how long does it take a dragon to be fully grown? I don't know if they grow at a rapid pace. Is it going to take years? Because like war is about to happen and these things are fresh out of the eggs. So I get her concerns.
She has to be stern as Lady of the Vale. Like like what do they call her, Chris? The Maiden of the Vale. She's like in charge of the entire region. She has to keep her people safe. She has to keep her castle safe. And Vhagar, like Chris said, a lot of history with Vhagar and that castle.
So she's got to be a B. It makes sense.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
gotta be the B.
Hmm.
Fun fact about her too, she's also the cousin of Rhaenyra's mom, Emma Aaron.
Right.
Gotcha.
So there's a little bit of history there between them that may end up being one of the deciding factors in the decisions that she has to make in the upcoming episodes.
R.I.P. to Emma Aaron, though. Emma was the best. You said she's cousins to her, right?
Yes,
And was Emma part Targaryen too before she married Viserys? Because she had that jet blonde hair. Jane Eyre, we
she
see has the
did.
dark hair. So I think she is. I believe she was a descendant to some degree.
I would think so, but I would have to confirm that before I throw that out on the airwaves. But
Yeah,
definitely looks like it.
I appreciate that the Targaryens are not hesitant to just marry with their relatives, with all their, to keep the bloodlines pure. It's pretty. Hannah was asking me today, who was a guest of the pod. She was like, "What is going on with that Daemon scene?" And I was like, it's just what these guys do. These Targaryens just do that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was even that one though. The son mom thing is just that was
It's different. They don't do that though. The Targaryens do not do that.
yeah,
Okay.
that was
Um,
tough. But
what else did you notice in your rewatch?
so there's an Alice Rivers ghost theory floating around.
Mm.
And I on my rewatch, I noticed this. It was in the scene where Damon, shortly after he was like chopping the wood at Harrenhal, and Alice Rivers is speaking to him and talking about how the small folk get like blamed, or they pretty much catch all the flack of war, and the lords are just doing their thing and they don't pay for it. But anyways, there's a point where Simon Strong walks onto the scene,
Yes,
and
I saw
Alice
this.
Rivers is walking away, and she just vanishes behind Simon Strong. And you can't even like Simon didn't even really acknowledge her as she was walking by. He kind of like looked over to see what Damon was looking at and didn't see it.
Hmm. I noticed that too. It was very Sixth Sense. He
I was
didn't
gonna
pay her
say,
any mind. He didn't glance at her. And then you don't see her walk away. She's just gone, like behind him
Hmm.
or something.
so spoiler alert for The Sixth Sense, but I was just gonna say, if you notice, it's toward the end of that movie, you realize that no one except Haley Joel Osment is interacting with Bruce Willis. There will be scenes that he's just kind of sitting there, he's like materializing. And I've realized now Alice Rivers has talked to no one but Damon.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whoa, she's in a
It's
spooky ghost.
she very well could be a spooky ghost. She's spreading ectoplasm everywhere. I just I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, she's very well documented in like all the A World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood, Rise of the Dragon. I don't know how I feel about her potentially being a ghost, a spooky ghost, particularly.
There's a good chance
Uh,
she's not. She might not be.
there's there's a good chance she's not, but that scene really made it look like she was.
Made her look like a spooky ghost at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. But also, I would just love to see Damon do anything at this point except tweak. He's chopping wood in his skivvies. He's having wet dreams. Do anything, Damon. Do anything except talk to fucking Ghost. It's like Ghost. It's like the Patrick Swayze movie Ghost at this point.
I haven't seen that. Allison, how do you feel about, are you pro Alice River being a ghost or against it?
As someone who is not familiar with her backstory in the books, I think it would be interesting if she were a ghost. That's certainly how things are looking for her right now. I think that would play well for TV, certainly, and make for an interesting character. And I like it.
I
I'm
guess.
I'm pro ghost.
Can he, do you think he has intercourse with the ghost at some point?
Are you
I think
asking
it,
me?
Either one of you.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. I
I
think
think
next week they looked like they were getting close. I bet there's going to be a ghost bang sesh next week. And then Simon Strong's going to walk in and he's going to be in the splash zone. He's going to be like, fuck. And it's going to get all over his outfit. And he's going to be like, what are you doing? Sorry, that was a lot. That was a lot. I'm sorry.
Hey, this is what you get on Deeper Thrones.
I think it's
Me and the
great.
boys had a couple of pina coladas at Chili's when we were talking about the greens. And you have to excuse me. I'm a little sauced right
Oh
now.
man.
I think
She's
Damon will bang anything that moves, so I'm gonna say yes as well. Absolutely.
Noted.
Sheets, you know what we didn't catch in our review? And we actually saw it the first time we watched, but we didn't mention it in the review episode.
What's that?
The Ratcatcher's dog.
It's right. The rat catcher's dog was when they cut him
He's
down.
still there.
Talk about a loyal guy. Let me tell you something. If the same exact thing happened to me, Bruce, my dog, would have moved on immediately.
He would
Disagree.
he would have just been like eating something, like eating his own tail or
He would have
something.
eaten my face if they didn't hang me. He would have been like, I guess this is lunch now.
Yeah, so that dog, I mean, I wonder how many episodes they could get away with like having that dog cameo in.
Question: have we seen anyone else interact with the dog except the rat catcher? Is the dog a ghost? Is this a ghost dog scenario?
Didn't
Uh,
the rat catcher's counterpart kick him, or was that
No,
the
the
rat
rat
catcher
catcher
that was
did.
the
himself?
rat
Yeah.
Okay,
catcher.
so
Very
no,
bad
I don't think we
relationship.
have.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, keep
And
that in
and Blood never really reacted to the rat catcher kicking the dog, so more
the.
evidence for the dog ghost theory.
He's like, what's he doing with his leg? That's weird. Dog ghost.
Dog breaks my
Um,
heart. That
Yeah.
scene where he went to like follow the cart they were putting him in.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough. And the sky puppies are dying now too. It's like the show's just the show's got to deal
The
with PETA.
sky puppies.
So the scene where Bela and Corliss were chatting at the docks of High Tide. I just wanted to again give a little bit of background for those who may not be familiar with the difference between Driftmark and High Tide. About Corliss's 9 voyages that they mentioned the Hall of Nine as well. So, high level overview: Driftmark is the seat of House Valerian. It's the ancestral seat. They are a Valyrian household, meaning they came over from old Valyria, just like the Targaryens did. They were not dragon lords. They actually made the trip before the doom of Valyria, and they've always been a seafaring house. So Driftmark is that ancestral seat. Corlys Valerian became a young lord. I think he was a captain of a ship at something like 14 years old or something.
Wow.
But he ended up going on these 9 voyages that he's famous for, and that's even one of the potential spin-offs that we'll see in this World of Ice and Fire series that HBO's creating. But in
Awesome.
those 9 voyages, he made the house extremely rich. They went as far as like Ashai by the Shadow and Yeti, so as close as like Volantis and Essos, things like that. But anyways, came back, completely changed the feature of his house, built High Tide, which is now the newer castle, the shinier one that we see, with the driftwood throne there, and the Hall of Nine, which has kind of souvenirs from each of the 9 voyages that he did. And that was what Bela was referring to when she said that she was looking for him at High Tide at the Hall of Nine,
Yeah.
and didn't find him there. So,
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons why season one we were so annoyed with Vaymond acting like, yes, they were an ancient house to begin with. They did survive the doom of Valeria, but he also talked about the great wealth of the house and all of that. Corlys is like a self-made man. Like it's not like
mhm.
this isn't like Viserys or even Rhaenyra or even Aegon inheriting this empire. This is like Corlys is his house's Aegon the Conqueror. Like he
Mhm.
made it all happen. He was the mover and the shaker. He's like me and our family, Allison. He's the one, he's the glue guy. He gets everybody involved.
And it'll
Whatever
be
you
cool to
say.
see. It'll be cool to see how he asserts his influence or doesn't, with that Queen of the Hand position or Hand of the Queen position, Queen of the Hand,
I like Queen of the Head.
like Queen of the
I
Hand
know.
too.
Yeah. The King of Queens, another good show. And we did talk about this, Chris, during the episode. I don't know if we talked about it on air, but we talked about it off air, which was Bela sort of rejecting
Yes,
Corliss's thing.
yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's visit that for a second. So
Okay.
the scene the scene that we're referring to is the same one, and Corliss offers the, I guess, I don't know,
Make her the
basically
heir of the
the
Driftwood
heir of
throne.
Churchmark and High Tide. And with that, all of House Valerian's riches, their whole fleet, yada yada yada. And Bela just nonchalantly turns it down and says, "I'm of blood and fire. The Driftwood throne needs to pass to someone of salt and sea." I think that conversation was had a little bit too lightly. I think Sheedy, you had a different take on it.
I agree. She, though, is in line, technically, if Rhaenyra's side wins, to be the queen consort, right? She's going to be Jacaerys's wife. She's going to be at King's Landing. Also, this isn't my take, but Bethany Antonia, who is the actress who plays Bela, did an interview, and I'm seeing these blurbs after every episode. They're discussing the episode, and she said that she felt that her character was reacting to the fact that Corlys, in terms of her and Rhaena, never really saw them as this house's future. Probably another, as we see in this world, a lot of gender is coming into play. And she said she felt his ask of it now was more of an opportunistic, like, yeah, now I see it. And it was her way of sort of keeping her own power and being like, yeah, you see it now, but I don't need it
Okay.
now, kind of thing.
Okay.
That's her.
I
That's
can
not
see
me.
that.
That's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Allison?
Allison, any thoughts?
I would say for the amount of fighting going on for Thrones, she should have graciously accepted that offer.
Chris's take as well, that she should
I
just accept it.
totally, and I especially the amount of power that women are seen to not have in this world, even Rhaenyra herself. I say go for it.
Yeah, I mean, who else could you put in
Um,
charge of it? That would be, especially if their team wins. I guess
Qualified.
Rhaena, you put Rhaena in charge, you keep Baela in King's Landing with Jace. Like, you could do that.
I mean, Joffrey's still technically rolling around. You could do that.
Yeah, he is up at the Vale, right? So he
Yeah.
could, yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Keep it in that core group and you're probably fine, right?
Mhm.
mhm.
So that was it for my rewatch notes. Some next steps for Team Black coming up throughout the rest of the season. Looks like someone edited my notes here.
I just added some stuff in.
Okay.
I thought it was a living document. I thought it was a living, breathing document. We could just sort of add what we needed to. So the first part,
step
you
one
could
for Team Black says,
you read it,
tweak
please.
Aaron Hall, sit on their hands, fall for Savvy, Kristen Cole traps, and Savvy's spelled wrong.
I had a couple pina coladas at Chili's with the boys. I thought I said that already before. And now also you could throw in there clap ghost cheeks and potentially get a little bit of jizz on Sir Simon Strong.
Okay. All right. 1 second.
Yeah,
That guy shows up everywhere.
yeah,
Ghost
yeah,
cheeks.
I could see this happening.
yeah, just a little bit.
And potentially get
It's funny because I can see him editing it. This is a living, breathing document.
jizz on Simon Strong. Okay.
Sorry,
got it.
I apologize for that. I took offense to something in the green section. We'll get to that in time. But Chris, go ahead with the other points you wanted to make about Team Blacks.
So the real next steps for Team Black. Big move. Jace negotiated the crossing of the Northmen south past the Twin Towers with the phrase.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going to happen there. What we do know is that they're 2,000 in number, and they're the quote-unquote graybeards that Cregan Stark is sending down.
And quick interjection here, if I may. In one of their early storyboards, they had the Northmen on that bridge. So they're not there yet. That might be a later episode. So fans are speculating online. Also, a guy who looked like Cregan was on the storyboards as well. He wouldn't be there, I don't think, to see them off. So that's probably is scrapped. But we still will see those Northmen eventually cross the twins. And Allison, what's it like seeing the phrase? You're used to Walder from Game of Thrones being crusty. They're usually nice looking folks.
That was the first thing I said was, wait, this was a creepy old guy with all the daughters. It is very interesting to see all of the houses and families.
Ancestors.
200 years prior.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
They do a great job, I think, at kind of making the houses shinier and like newer looking.
They do.
Yeah, very, very much more gnarlier in Game of Thrones. It's pretty impressive.
And also, like, people are different. You're not the same as your grandparents. They're not the same as their grandparents. Like Walder Frey, you look at him and then you look at these folks and you're like, whoa, but it's like, that's just how it goes. But sorry, Chris, you go ahead.
There is a legendary Frey character that I hope they squeeze into the show. It's kind of a ancillary character in the book, so I don't know that they're going to have the bandwidth to be able to put her in, but would be very cool to see her named Sabbatha Frey, but that's all I'll say without any spoilers. Next up for Team Black, House Aaron's participation in the war effort hangs in Rhaena's hands. So pretty self-explanatory there. King's Landing, we talked about before. The Black Council and Mysaria are both pushing Rhaenyra to take action in King's Landing. Daemon's situation in the Riverlands is Daemon's situation in the Riverlands. Takes one step forward and takes two steps back. The Brackens were once on his side. Seems like they're jumping back now. So we'll see how that progresses. There's an effort to get more Dragon Riders now, and I feel like we've kind of been building up to that a little bit all season, but Melee's dying and Rhaenys dying actually obviously accelerates those efforts. And then will Corlys accept the Hand of the Queen nomination?
If he doesn't, it'd be very awkward.
It
It'd be
would
like,
be,
what are you gonna
but
do?
he has all the reason in the world not to. That we talked about it on the review, but Team Black has not really been great to him, you know. So
A lot of dead kids, dead wife, dead dragon, technically even his brother, for all his faults, it's still his brother. Like I would like to think that if I got beheaded, Allison wouldn't become hand of the king for some for the beheadee, or the beheader.
what if I
Never.
was like the king?
I don't think she would. I think she'd be upset. Bury me in my Ray-Bans. Bury me in my Ray-Bans.
I could
Uh,
never.
Yep. See. All
Yeah.
right. Next deck for Team Greens. I was reacting out of anger to this first one that says "suck more ass." Team Greens again. This is what, and we saw some
They
posts.
suck ass. Get it? Because they suck ass.
Are you done? Can I talk? I didn't even interrupt you. You guys see? I honestly think public opinion is starting to push toward my side. I uphold myself with the utmost class on this podcast, and all I do is take shit for it. The turtleneck was a hit. People feel very bad for Aegon. A lot of people feel very bad for Aegon. All right. And Rhaenyra has been living the dream on Dragonstone. She's been, yeah, sure. One episode, a guy almost killed her. Other than that, she's been living on easy street. Meanwhile, Aegon's facing adversity. And I think that what makes diamonds? Pressure, right? Is that the expression? Pressure makes diamonds or something? But it also bursts pipes. And my side is tested under pressure. Your side has not been tested under pressure, and we'll see what happens. We're getting
All right.
diamonds. You're getting
What's
pipes.
next? What's next for Team Green?
I lost my spot. Give me a second.
I think you left off on suck more ass.
Yeah, here we are. Aemon's actions as regent. We got to see what Aemon's gonna do. He had a weird scene in the throne room where Helena was standing there. Him and Helena have weird vibes. They can like sense each other. Let's keep an eye on that specific relationship. Alicent's reaction to Aemon on the throne. Is she potentially going to call Otto? What about Dare on the Daring? Are we going to get a little Dare on the Daring in the mix? Chris, what do you think?
I mean, that'd be fantastic. I know what happened, so I don't want to add too much color here, but they did mention Darren, I think in episode 2 was when we had the Darren reveal. So
We
he
did.
is in the outskirts.
He's creeping a little bit. Otto is probably fully greased, slipping his way down to King's Landing as we speak. Repercussions of parading Melee's head and closing gates of King's Landing. True. Now this is an area where the Greens may have slipped up a little bit because Melee's head did not play like they thought it would. It was not a hit. It was a mistake. And closing the gates, we have a lot of small folk who are pretty wired right now, and they're pretty on edge. They're pretty nervous. They're hungry. That's not a recipe for success. It's a powder keg.
I will add some color there, and this isn't any spoilers. This is just based off what we know. That move that Kristen Cole or Gawain Hightower concocted did two things. One, it adds panic to an already awful and deteriorating situation in King's Landing amongst the small folk. But two, it lets them know that these animals and the dragon riders themselves are no longer invincible. They're not gods. So you have, like you said, this powder keg where people are already discontented and disillusioned, and now they know that the rulers are more vulnerable than they thought they were.
Yeah. And I wonder, my mindset goes to like if I was Rhaenyra, what I would be sending the word to King's Landing would be like food and shelter on Dragonstone, something like that. Just something like that to the small folk. Like even if it's not successful, it just lets them know that there's someone caring about them. She has no army. She has no army. Her husband won't talk to her. Her son is doing God knows what, flying around the realm. All right, sorry. Christian Cole's next actions is Hand of the King. Kristen's everyone's like, oh, Kristen is failing upwards. Everything he does is wrong. The way I see it, he's been nothing but successful. I don't see any mistakes in what he's done. Aegon went a little rogue. He shouldn't have. Otherwise, that was a great plan. He conquered each house one by one. Rhaenyra slipped up. She didn't combine their forces. Kristen's doing exactly what he should be.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Lannis,
argue with you there.
One big mistake on Kristen Cole's part, the haircut.
yeah, it's a tough haircut. That's a good point. That is a bad haircut. Yeah, he's not
Like a
looking good with it.
Skylar White haircut. Yeah, it's not good.
He's got like a little bowl cut going on. Lannisters and Hightower hosts appear to be on the march, which we see in the next episode. We see a lot of golden lions with the red fields, and they are, I assume, heading east towards King's Landing. I don't know.
Yes. And within, I think it was either the first episode or one of the first two, but Otto mentions that his brother Ormond Hightower is on the march east with the Hightower host. And remember, he said he plans on them making it to the Riverlands without any sort of problems. And then
Mm,
Tywin Lannister at the small council also mentioned that his brother Jason Lannister is marching east to the Riverlands as well.
right.
And if you remember, I think again in episode 2 or episode 3, they even had like a tiff on the small council, and this was when Otto was gone. This was the first time that Kristen Cole was the hand of the king, and they were like arguing on who should get like first dibs on leading the battle in the Riverlands.
Right. That's interesting. Let's remember Jason is Tywin's twin. We remember he tried to marry Rhaenyra when Aegon was born because everyone thought she was fair game. And it's also important to remember, so a Hightower host and a Lannister host are going to be heading toward the Riverlands, where Daemon is with Caraxes and no army.
Hmm.
He's got his ghost girlfriend. He's got Simon Strong, literally like, what's your deal, dude? No army and two big armies marching right toward him. That's very interesting. Helena, what's her deal? Good question. We don't know. We have not seen her much since Jaehaerys. I assume still grieving, but we don't she never really grieves. She just asks, she is a weirdo. Is she a ghost?
She she asked Aemon in the last episode when Aemon's staring at the Iron Throne. She asked, "Was it worth the price?" And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a question for Aemond to figure out. But again, that speaks to Helena's level of knowledge that she can tell that Aemond had some hand in it. Um, Allison, anything to add there?
I was just going to say the same thing that it wasn't just, is it worth it for you to be on the throne for your brother to be severely burned and injured? But it's like she knows he had something to do with it. There's something weird going on there. She's just kind of in the background observing. So maybe she knows more than we all think. No.
I wish we got more into, like, I loved when we were getting her dreams and like premonitions,
Me
even though
too.
she couldn't connect the dots on what they meant. I wish we got like a little bit more of that, like before Rick's rest or
Yeah.
something like that. So,
Mm.
All right.
but that's a wrap on the next steps for Team Greens, right, Sheets?
Yeah, we did it.
Awesome. Next up, we're gonna go through the house that dragons built. We talked about this before we started recording this. I do feel like they're starting to run out of steam a little bit. And it's not because like the production's losing quality or anything. As a matter of fact, it keeps ramping up. The thing is though, you can only talk about like how great a setting is so many times. Right?
I mean, at a certain point, they're like, we use effects. We
Yeah.
use a lot of this is computers. The dragons aren't real. That's like the gist of the house that the dragons built. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, interesting.
Um, First up, early in the episode, they talk about high tide in the Hall of Nine, which we already touched on. One thing that was interesting in season 1, they actually built out like the whole hall. But then they had to take it down because I guess they don't use it as much in season 2. And so they had like the driftwood throne and some things in the back behind it, but the rest of it was green screen, which I found interesting because I remember in one of these Deeper Thrones episodes, we were talking about like the environmental impact that they have and like what happens to these materials like after they use them. So it was kind of cool to see like they're not just like leaving these sets up
Did I?
if they're not using them. Yeah.
Yeah. Steve Toussaint, who plays Corlys, said it was his favorite set.
I think he actually did, didn't
Oh, like multiple. He
he?
was like
Yeah.
he was angry. He's like they
He
took
was
it
like
down.
pissed about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, it's there's everyone has their favorite set. The Dragon Head parade that was what we thought is a blunder, but it actually was filmed, I guess, in three different settings or three different locations. The main one was Trujillo, Spain, which of course has that medieval look, so it feels, like you're actually moving through the street, and it is a medieval setting without needing green screen or any built different set pieces. But they also used another location in Spain, and then they used a location in the UK as well. So,
The amount of
um,
manpower needed for that, insane.
yeah,
To shoot
insane.
one scene, three locations, they had to push everything back. They couldn't like turn stuff around. It crazy.
Mhm. Yeah. They said they had to like waste 15 to 20 minutes between shoots because they couldn't loop around. They had to like move everything backwards in the parade.
Jesus.
And then they showed Kristen Cole's actor being a little goofball with an umbrella. That was cute.
They're adorable. The whole cast is just cute as the Dickens. Let me tell you, they're all
I
adorable.
I'm coming to like, and I'm forgetting his name, but Gawain Hightower's actor.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
I forgot his name as well. I'll look into it. It's like it's Freddie something, but he's a very likable chap.
Mhm.
All Team Greens is actually. Speaking of Team Greens, there was a lot of prosthetic work on Aegon Targaryen and his body from the burns, and it was like a 6 hour process to get into that. Which going forward, if he's in a lot of scenes, that poor bastard in the makeup chair for 6 hours.
6 hours is tough. I'm hoping that they like got all his scenes done within like one cluster for the
Yeah.
whole season. Because otherwise, if you have to go back and forth into that, that's tough. But yeah, they did a great job. They were talking about the iron or the armor melting into the skin and like how to make that realistic, which I appreciated. Because there is, when you talk about a fantasy show, the little details to make it believable in some senses are important like that. I feel like that's why a lot of people like this type of stuff. People watch Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon that never watched Lord of the Rings or some of those more fantastical type series. So
Yeah, definitely
appreciate
agree.
that. Um, Matt Smith mentioned House of the Dragon is a show that really needs scale, and he was referring to the scene where in the beginning he had Caraxes in front of the Brackens. So I guess that scene was filmed in North Wales, and they just had like an open countryside that they had to bring all their equipment to. There were these areas called triple SSI protections, stands for Special Sites and Scientific Interest. So essentially, they had to like bring out all these cranes and all these things, the moving dragon buck and things like that, and they had to do it within the confines of these SSI or triple SI protections. So just a very complicated logistical process, and I don't know that we're ever gonna like see this type of scale again. I mean, like House of the Dragons coming off the success of Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
do we think that House of the Dragon is going to have that same level of success that HBO is just going to be able to throw an open checkbook at all the all the successors of this?
No, I mean, you look at Dunkin' Egg, it's a smaller show. It's like
Hmm.
it's an easier risk for them, let's say.
Hmm.
And obviously episode 4 had a crazy amount of viewership, so it's a good sign for HBO and for going forward. If they have ambitions, we've already heard that the Nine Voyages show that they were working on, they've moved to the idea of it being animated because it's so cost prohibitive to have him go to
Hmm.
all these new locations. If they do a Nymeria show, which we know for a fact they're working on, that's from George's mouth himself, that's a big fucking show. So would that be
Hmm.
animated? An Aegon the Conqueror show wouldn't be. They would have to do that live action, and that would
And that would be
require a budget
massive.
along these lines. So, I
Hmm.
mean, they have to have confidence in the story. That's what it comes down to. And if
Well
this
said.
ends on a high note, they'll go for it.
Well said. Well, that's all my notes on the episode in the house that the dragon built. Anything to add before we hop into a little bit of fun here?
Not for me.
Bring on the fun.
Bring on the
All
fun.
Bring
right,
on the
let's go.
fun.
I actually
So,
refuse to look at the question. Like I don't want to be prepared, you know? I hate
okay,
being prepared.
okay, okay. So this game that we're gonna play this time, It's a Westeros edition and a sibling edition of the popular Newlyweds game. So this we're calling How Well Do You Know Your Sibling? And it's all going to be Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon related questions. For example, who would be Sheedy's favorite character? And then Allison would have to answer.
And I would write down my answer to it, and I would reveal it when she guesses. Okay.
Yep. Another reason why you should be watching our YouTube and not just the podcast version. But
yeah, I'll also say it out loud.
And I will be just the moderator here. So this is a sibling game, obviously. You know, I feel like I'm part of the family, but I'm,
you are. You're the brother.
I'm
You're the brother I've never had. So, you are.
Thank you. Wow, that means a lot.
There's
okay,
no
so
proof
which
that
one of you?
Sweet.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I know where you're going with that.
Which one of you wants to get the first question and guess?
Ooh.
We'll let our guests get the first.
I'll guess first. Yeah.
Okay. So, and for the record, I'm going to refer to John as Sheedy and we'll refer to Allison as Allison. Okay. Allison, is Sheedy team green or team black?
Oh, this is a hard one. Good luck. I think you could just guess it out loud and I write down the answer.
Oh, okay. Team green.
I wrote greens. I wrote greens.
Greens. I put a sad face on mine.
Why?
Because
we're doing great. Greens
nothing.
are up. Greens are up.
Greens are up. Okay, Sheedy.
Yes.
Is Allison team green or team black?
Okay, so I'm gonna write it.
Is it what I want her to be, or is it what she is that I should answer?
I mean, you could answer. You could try guess however you want.
She right as of this is a trick question because as of right now she's team blacks, but in a few weeks I think we'll have her on our side, team greens.
Allison.
Can you
Team
see
Team
that?
black. We
Team
could for a
black.
second. It disappeared, but we could for a second. You got to say it out
I'll
loud.
hold it
too.
up and say it. I am team
Yeah.
black through and through.
Love it.
We'll see.
Love it. Good woman. Good woman.
See you in a week.
Second question. Allison, who is Sheedy's favorite character on House of the Dragon?
Oh, I'm gonna say this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me know when you're ready, Jay.
I'm ready.
Otto Hightower?
It is Otto.
Yeah.
Listen, you talk about brains, you talk about smarts, and I'll say this too. He's got the looks. He's got the
Well, I was
looks.
gonna say you didn't say who's the hottest character. I know what that
Would have been the
answer would
same.
be,
Would
but
have been
not
the same
favorite.
answer. Would have been Otto as well.
Sheedy.
Yes.
Who is Allison's favorite character on House of the Dragon?
I actually don't know. I don't really care. I never ask her. It's one of two, and it's tough because it might be the guy I'm thinking of, but I think it is. My writing is very bad. I just guess out loud. I don't know why I wrote. I wrote Rhaenyra Targaryen. Is it Rhaenyra?
Ooh, hey.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Rhaenyra.
I was worried it would be Damon.
I gotta keep score here somehow. All right.
I think we're even right now. We've each gotten each one right, so 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know each other pretty well.
Allison, who is Sheedy's favorite character on Game of Thrones?
Ooh. Oh God. This is gonna make me look like such a loser.
Oh, that makes me want to change my answer.
No, you're good.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Is it Vhagar?
On Game of Thrones?
Oh, on not in the whole series?
No, on
Like
Game of
House of
Thrones.
Dragon? Oh,
No.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that
Well,
show?
you already got it wrong.
I got it wrong. Yeah, I would just call
yeah.
it wrong.
It was
Yeah.
Jon Snow. That was a Jon Snow guy.
Wow, what a
More than
nerd.
Tyrion. I know.
Oh, favorite character. I thought you said favorite dragon. Ah, it was
What an
that was
idiot.
my bad.
Mhm.
It was Jon Snow. Dang.
Of course it was Jon Snow. It was always Jon
It was
Snow.
always
I
Jon
always was a Jon
Snow.
Snow guy.
Okay,
Right.
I
Sheedy,
looked ahead. I'm sorry.
who is Allison's favorite character on Game of Thrones?
Oh God. Probably Drogon or Caraxes. Oh, you said character.
Yeah, I would have gotten that one right too. That's like such a gimme.
Oh,
Oh, Let's just edit that out and then I'll
No,
have
no,
me
it's that
saying,
stays in. That's insane. I don't know who her favorite character is on Game of Thrones. It's either is it Daenerys? I don't think so. I'm gonna go with this Jamoke. I'm gonna go with she writes it down. Oh, it's Tyrion.
"Mm, oh, no, Arya.
Arya.
Oh, she did like
True.
yeah,
Yeah, I liked
yeah.
Arya. I went back and forth on her a little bit, but ultimately she was my favorite.
Yeah, she
All
got
right.
stabbed like 10 times and was fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was
Um,
not believable.
Allison, who is Sheedy's favorite dragon throughout both series?
All right, let me write it
Jon
down.
Snow.
Yeah, seriously. Let me think. Favorite dragon. Interesting. Um, all right, ready.
Gonna go with my original guess and say Vhagar.
It is. I
It
like
is. Okay,
Vhagar.
good.
I like
I
Aemon.
mean,
I
he's epic.
like my boy
Yeah.
Aemon. Caraxes is a close second, then Drogon probably third.
Okay, okay. Sheedy, who is Allison's favorite dragon throughout both series?
I'm gonna go with let me know when you got your answer.
I've
Um
got my answer.
I'll go with Drogon for that one.
I don't know if I spelled this correctly.
Oh, is it Melees?
Melees.
You gotta
Rest in
say it. We
peace.
cannot see it. You can-
Melees, rest in
If I've
peace.
said it once, I've said it. All right, go ahead.
R.I.P. Melees.
Yeah.
Melees.
Body's still warm.
Yeah.
Um, Allison, where would Sheedy want to live in Westeros?
Ooh. All right, I'm ready. You don't have to write it down. You just gotta guess it out loud.
King's Landing.
No. The
Castle Black.
North. The North.
North, of course.
Winterfell.
Okay,
Winterfell.
anywhere in the north? I mean, the north's pretty vast. Like
The
you
North
wanna
is pretty
you wanna
vast.
live at the
Well,
wall?
Winterfell. Winterfell.
Okay,
Winterfell. Okay.
okay.
I should have known.
Um, Sheedy, where would Allison want to live in Westeros?
Mm. Let me know when you're ready. When you've written it down,
I'm ready,
I'll.
but I'll just say it since you can't see what I'm writing.
Oh, let's see. Where do you want to live? I'd say King's Landing.
I was gonna say Winterfell as well.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting. Yeah, we're both
Now we're
struggling
getting a
interesting.
now.
little harder. Well,
Yeah.
ever since I said Vhagar was your favorite character on Game of Thrones, it's just thrown me off my game entirely.
I'll be honest, it's thrown me off mine as well.
I think we're still 2-2 right now. So
Yeah,
there's
anyone
not a
could
winner
win.
yet. Okay, question number 6. Who is, or I'm sorry, Allison, who is
Hmm.
Sheedy's House of the Dragon crush?
Oh, well, one second. Let me write this down. All right, you can guess.
Alicent Hightower.
Ellison Hightower, for those of you watching along or listening along at home. Easy.
Easy. That was easy.
Sheedy, who
Hmm.
is Allison's House of the Dragon crush?
Oh, I don't know. This is not something it's not fair because mine has been broadcast on
It's all you
over and
talk
over
about.
and over and over.
You never stop talking about it.
I changed the family group chat to in-laws of Allison Hightower. That's the name of it. I'm just gonna guess here.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you, pickings are a little slim.
Well, you got Otto, you got Aemond if you want it. Um, should I show my guess? I guessed.
No, you
I'll
say the
say it.
guess.
Oh, Damon, I put.
Eh,
All right, what was it?
Otto Hightower.
Was it?
A strong older gentleman
You're not
who
like
knows his
Viserys
stuff.
or
No, no.
everyone fell in love with Otto when he yelled at Aegon that one episode.
Honestly, that's what did it for me.
Yeah.
He put that kid in his place.
What's the score, Chris?
We got 3-3. Still
Wham.
tied up. Still tied up.
Wham.
Hmm.
Allison, what position would Sheedy hold on the small council?
Let me know when you're done writing it.
I'm ready.
I think he would be a master of whispers.
I did put that.
Oh yeah. All
You can't
right.
read my handwriting. I don't even know why I'm showing it.
It's okay, you can't see mine.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll still
Just
do
say it.
it.
But I did write. You got to write it though, because otherwise I'll
I
think you're
will.
lying.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an honorable person, but I will write it.
All right. Sheedy, what position would Allison hold on the small council?
This is an easy one. I think she'd be the hand of the king or queen.
Oh,
What'd you put?
Master of
Master of coin.
Coin.
Interesting. I think if we
Oh,
pulled I think if we pulled the family, they'd disagree with you.
I love finances.
I know,
I
but
love
I
coin.
think you're probably the one that we would all go to for like a right-hand man thing.
Oh, well, thank
Hmm.
you.
Not anymore.
I think that might have been the nicest thing you ever said to your
That was
sister.
very nice, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
No, I know. It's believe me, we'll talk after this about that Vagar thing. We'll talk about
You have
that.
no idea how upset I am because I would have
Who's
absolutely
his
gotten that
favorite
right, and I would be
character on
winning right
Who's his
now.
favorite character on Game of Thrones? She's like,
Well,
he fucking
Dragon,
this guy, let me tell you something. He fucking loves Walter White. All right. So if we're talking TV show characters, he loves Walter White. He also a big fan of that Scooby-Doo character.
Dragon is right below that question, and I'm just
Just listen to the words Chris
in
is
my
saying.
head. Could we have
All
like an
right.
extra credit question after?
No.
All right, guys. Settle down. All right. We still got more game to play. Allison's up 4-3 now,
Ooh.
officially. Um, Allison, what was Sheedy's favorite battle that was shown on screen? And this is throughout both series.
That's just come on. We probably have the same answer for this.
Hear you mumbling.
I'm ready.
Okay. Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Battle of the Bastards.
Battle of the Bastards.
Do
That's
we
a good
even,
one.
if you're going to ask me the same question, I'll probably say it's the same exact thing. Battle of the Bastards.
And
Yeah,
you would be correct.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Save you
So we got
this.
You can't beat that one.
we
No,
got
we love
five
it.
four.
Maybe House of the Dragon will at some point, but until I see it with mine own eyes, Battle of the
Mhm.
Bastards.
All right. Question number 9. Allison's up 5-4. Allison, what is Sheedy's favorite TV show outside of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon?
Hmm.
Oh man. Okay. Mm.
No, you just guess out loud.
All right. Um,
Go ahead.
Dateline.
Dateline.
Anything
Oh,
Dateline.
that's a good one. I do like me some Chris Hansen, but no, it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
He didn't say drama, he just said show. So
I thought
technically
for sure
it's
it would still be Dateline.
no.
That is a great
Wrong.
show.
Okay.
Sheedy, what is Allison's favorite TV show outside of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon?
She watches infinitely more shows than I do, so this is tough. You guys are she's one of those people who's always recommending shows to me, and I'm always like, I'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely get around to it.
Well,
She's
Mm-hmm.
big
Sheed, you
This
on
can
is this is
you can
true.
tie here, so
I
you
know.
gotta.
You're big on The Boys right now. You like that one show that got canceled after like 2 seasons. You like you liked Breaking Bad. America's Next Top Model was pretty big.
Pretty big in my life for a
It was
time there.
pretty big in your life.
This is a hard one because I do watch so many shows, so I will say it's something I'm watching currently. So not ANTM.
But you are watching The Boys right now.
I am watching The Boys right now.
Okay, look at me.
But
Is that it?
I can't see your eyes, so
Uh, look me in the sunglasses and tell me what it is. Let me think. You're watching it right now?
yes. I'm giving
Okay.
hints because I feel like this is a hard one and it's
Well,
been on for a handful of seasons.
that's not a hint. All
Oh
right.
wow.
The Boys has been, but I just don't think that's high enough.
I
Yeah, the way you're reacting.
I do like The
Mhm.
Boys, but there's something I like even more.
It's like White Lotus or
Clock's
Succession.
clock's ticking.
Dude, yeah, I honestly have no fucking clue. Can you give me a wait, 1 second. Give me a hint as to like what service it's on?
Oh,
History Channel, I want to say.
History Channel. I don't
I
know. Is it
think
like
so.
oh, it's like Mysteries of the Abandoned?
No,
I don't know what it is.
it's
What is it?
The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch.
That's all the time we have for today.
I've actually never even heard of that.
Oh,
Oh,
I've never heard of it either.
it's really good.
All you ever tell me about is The Boys.
And Girls Five Eva.
Okay.
Okay. So no one got that one right. So we're still
Mm-mm.
4-5 with Allison in the lead. Allison, who would Sheedy be on Team Green? Meaning, what character would he be on Team Green?
Oh, I know this one. Go ahead, guess away.
Lara Strong.
Yeah.
You slippery little bastard.
I was hoping you would think like someone cool like Amond or
No, I
Otto.
knew it. I knew it would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
someone weird and
Yes.
creepy like Lara Strong.
Smart, cunning,
Or
a
yeah,
little funny and quirky. I get what you're saying.
that's
I get what you're saying.
that's
I'm
what I
reading.
meant.
Read
Yeah.
it loud and clear.
I liked weird and creepy for the
Weird
record.
and creepy.
Sheedy, who would Allison be? Green.
On Team Green. Ooh.
Oh, and I'm not Team Green, so this is a very hard question to answer.
I guess I got it. I got it. I don't have to write it down. Helena.
Yes, I put
Yeah.
Elena.
Wow.
In
She's a
You,
little weird,
you
also.
needed that one to stay alive, Sheeds.
I did?
Needed
Oh,
it.
good. All right. Chris,
Yeah.
you're doing great moderating, by the way.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you. You're not getting any preferential treatment after that, but
Wasn't looking for it. I
okay.
was just saying a statement.
All right, Laris.
I'm not like your side. I'm not like, oh, you know.
Okay, final question. Score is Sheedy with 5, Allison with 6. Sheeds, this is a must win for you here, okay?
Okay.
Allison, who would Sheedy be on Team Black?
Well, even I don't know this one.
It's a tough one when it's not your team.
All right, I got it.
I know you don't like him right now, but I would say Damon.
I put Jace.
No.
I put just a guy who would try to help his
Okay,
cause and
can I show you something real quick? Can you see this?
no, what does it say? Just read it.
Jaceres.
Just
It
say
says
Jaceres all the way at the
Jaceres.
bottom. I was taking notes earlier, and I thought you'd think he was just a little punk, and you would want to go Damon because he's more hardcore. But I totally,
I don't relate
because
to
he's
Damon
Damn.
he's
at
close with
all.
his mom. He's doing his part in this war. I should have
Yeah,
gone with my first instinct.
but you didn't.
Man,
I didn't. That's a
that might
bummer.
cost you here. That
I
might
think it
cost you
probably
here.
will.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, Sheedy, here we go
Uh,
for the tie. Who would Allison be on Team Black?
I think it's kind of easy. It's one of two, and it sucks because I think I don't do any tomfoolery. Like go with your heart here.
hmm
Because, you know, the
Going
one
with
is
my
fiercely
heart.
loyal, but she went down because she loved Maylis, and the one went down in a pit of fire, Rhaenys did. And I feel like Alicent's fiercely loyal, but I bet she relates more to Rhaenyra, so I would go with Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra.
We got ourselves a
That's
tie.
a
A
tie.
classic tie. Wow.
And to
Wow.
think I could have beat you by 2 points.
You
Wow.
blew it.
The dragon question.
Vagar got
The
you. Yeah.
dragon question.
Yeah.
And Jaciret, you saw that though.
Yeah.
Jay, I want you to
Doesn't
see this.
matter. People write all kinds of things.
All right.
Ah,
So tiebreaker. I didn't have a 12th question prepared. I should have.
okay.
Oh.
But I'm gonna just rip one off. We're just gonna go with one.
All right.
Allison, who would Sheedy? Wait, sorry. Let me retract. Okay, Allison, who would Sheedy marry on Team Black?
On Team Black. I
Oh,
like
who would
this.
you marry on Team Black? That's a good question.
Let me think. I mean, well, um, based on personality. All right, I got mine.
You were talking about her a lot in one episode recently that I listened to, so I'll say Rhaenyra.
I went with Rhaenys.
Rhaenys.
The reason
Wow.
I think I like a strong lady, and I think Rhaenys is stronger than Rhaenyra in terms
She
of just her
is.
personality. I think Rhaenyra is
Yeah.
she's a little more placated, whereas Rhaenys, like, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
think she'd really slap me around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sheedy, you can potentially win here.
Potentially.
Sheedy, who would Allison marry on Team Greens?
Well, I think I know. You ready? Otto Hightower.
Did she write it down yet?
I
Oh, okay.
did. Do you
Yeah.
see that?
Man,
Oh.
man, it was
You know what?
correct.
I think the thing is, looks wise, Rhaenyra is definitely up there. But when Chris said Mary, that was the thing that specifically I had to think
Yeah.
about.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I played FMK, like Rhaenyra would be one of them. But I think not Mary.
Well,
You know,
congratulations.
Sheedy, you came
You did
through.
it.
You won the tiebreaker. We got, I mean, if you were to get defeated by your sister on your own podcast, that would have been an alternate world that I would love to live in.
I know, but
Yeah.
woulda, shoulda, coulda. Here I am, four pina coladas deep. I had an insane amount of that chips and salsa at Chili's, so I'm also not feeling my best. And here I am, sort of a self-induced flu game, and here I am delivering on the goods.
Man.
And for
Well,
all you know, I threw that Jon Snow question, so you would win. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
embarrassingly
I'm
so.
kidding.
ghost theory.
Ghost
We
Ghost
theory.
theory.
did anyone did anyone acknowledge Jon Snow and the
Yeah.
dragon?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. I think we have a lot of listeners on the podcast. We need subscribers on YouTube. So please come out for us in that format. Allison, it was a pleasure having you again. We look forward to our next time with you on the pod. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Allison. You have a good day, all
Awesome.
right?
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
for
you being
having
here.
me.
Of course. And Allison Hightower, hit me up. We both know that the person I'd really marry is you.
Whips, check out the handle, switch, shooters on swoosh, hitters don't miss. Already just added a ton of y'all to my list. Bitch, death wish, not to be messed with, tested,